Good afternoon. It's 4 minutes past 2. You are listening to Starting Up. My co-host today is George Hojage. And we've been talking quite a lot about careers, George, haven't we, today?
We have.
We've had big conversations. So what's coming up for you on this hour? We're going to be joined by the chief taco maker and founder of Maiz Tacos. She's in the studio, ready and waiting. And George will be getting top 5 tips for starting your own company from inventor and multi-startup Silicon Valley entrepreneur, as I mentioned a little earlier, Mary Lou Jepson. And we're also going to be joined by Ahmed Galoom, who's the government liaison manager at OneSpace. So if you want to get in touch, have a question for any of our guests, text us 4001 or you can call us 04871 5500. And George, you gave us a nice bit of, if anyone's just joining the programme, you gave us a nice bit of career advice, didn't you? You said something about if you hate going to work every day.
Listen, I'm a strong. I mean, maybe I've been lucky in my life. I don't know, but a job for me is not a chore, right? A job for me is a way of life. It's something that you spend, unfortunately, most of your life doing. Your colleagues, I always tell my colleagues, we see each other more than we see our families. So it's important that we be happy, that it comes naturally to us, that it's not an effort or daily effort, or whatever you want to call it. I personally, the day that I start not wanting to go to work in the morning or hating going to work in the morning is the day I start looking for something else, because I think it's normal to have good days and bad days, and it's normal to have maybe good weeks and bad weeks. But when it starts becoming chronic, and you wake up every day and you don't feel like going to work, trust me, it's time to find something else, and it's time to move in a new direction. Okay, one person who decided they wanted to be their own boss is our next guest.
Startups and side hustles.
Okay, so for startups and side hustles, this week our guest is Luma Makhlouf from Maiz Tacos. So first of all, thank you for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
And second of all, I have to make a confession. Big thank you for making awesome tacos, because you deliver them to my house and I love them very much. Yes.
I'm so glad you like it. That's awesome.
Well, I'm a bit jealous now. What happened to me?
Didn't invite you. I've had them 5 times in the past 2
5
months.
times? Way,
I told Truthy this before. I know. It's
I'm
really
going to look
bad.
out for you now every time you order.
Yeah, because my order's the same as well every single time. And anyway.
So what do you have then? Let us know. What do you have?
So I like the slow-cooked beef. I love the fish tacos as well.
El Dorado, yeah.
I don't eat mayonnaise, so I have them without. So that's how you'll know it's
I'll
me.
remember, yeah.
And I love your guacamole. And I'm a big Mexican food fan. So, I've been a repeat offender.
Well, I found out that I live 50 meters away from the restaurant. So,
so you better be seeing you soon.
So you're based in Dar es more at the moment, Luma, and tell us a little bit about the story, because it started with a food truck and, of course, an idea. So you've been traveling quite a lot. What was the moment that you thought, okay, I want to put this into perspective and do something with it?
Well, my husband and I, who's the co-founder of Maiz, we really, really wanted to get into food for quite a long time. I mean, I've been obsessed with food and learning all about it, cooking, trying to get into F&B somehow, some way, ever since I was a kid. But I never went that route. I did end up going to culinary school here in Dubai. And when I met my husband, we just kind of were like, we have to do this in our lifetime. One thing led to another. The laws opened up with trucks in Dubai. And we decided to take the plunge and start a food truck, which made so much more sense at that time. Especially because the overheads and the investment is completely different than just taking a plunge into having your own brick and mortar or getting investors on board or any of that really serious hassle. We met with, I swear to you, every consultancy in Dubai and Abu Dhabi, because we really wanted to get it right. We found, kind of a startup that we really felt great with at the time, and we just kept thinking of different things. And I always went back to tacos because I'm from the States. I'm from, Chicago. I grew up in a kind of a Mexican community as well, and it's so normal that every 50 meters you have an amazing taqueria. So I thought,
maiz means corn in Spanish, right?
It does,
That's a cool name,
exactly, yeah. So it's been quite a journey going from a truck, and then we launched a catering company right away, and then we were invited to enter this food hall, and we've been doing it for now about a year.
Very
now.
cool.
Yeah.
And, you decided you wanted to do this and you go and get the truck. What kind of considerations are there then when you get a food truck? Because I noticed, I was on Shakeside Road recently, and I noticed there's a place that just fits out trucks, and they have all these different kinds of trucks that they're obviously making for other customers. So like you say, less commitment than bricks and mortar. However, you still need a pitch, and you still need to do other things, I suppose. So what kind of considerations are there in that respect?
First of all, you have to try to do as much research as you can. It's a very, very young market, and it's a very young industry, generally speaking. So you have to try to find the right people to work with. It's very challenging for you to directly try to bring the truck here, whether it's from the States or China. It depends on what kind of truck you want as well. Like we bought a container, so it's a 7-meter, what looks like an Airstreamer, and it hooks up to your 4x4 car. My husband drives it around. So, but then we know people that actually got trucks from the States. So they paid $1 million or something crazy like that, and they brought it over. And like I said, because it's such a young industry, it's not very transparent.
Yeah.
So you just have to really do as much research as you can and put your budget aside and see what you want to invest in. There's a lot of other alternatives to trucks as well. You really don't need to invest even in at this stage now in 2019 in a truck to launch or to test your F&B model.
So there's a question that's come in anonymously on the text, and it says, this is a question for Luma. What's the hardest obstacles to remain competitive and relevant in the food and beverage industry here in Dubai? Because like you said, where you've come from in America, it's, you walk down the street and there's lots and lots of restaurants. We are overrun with restaurants here and food concepts and pop-ups. So how do you make your business stand out?
The thing that we did from the very beginning is we decided that I was going to quit my other business or quit my full-time job, and I was going to be the face of Maiz. I was going to be there from 9 to 5 or whatever it would be in the restaurant hours, all day, every day. And literally the first 2 months when we launched, if you came to the food truck, it was at Kite Beach from 12 to 10 p.m. I'm the cashier. So I'm the only person that you have that first contact with.
And you had your job on the side, your full-time job? Is that what you're saying?
No, there's no way. It's physically impossible. So yeah, I think what's really missing, other than amazing tacos and really, really good food, which we can talk about that as well, but having amazing customer service is really not easy to find in Dubai. You don't find the owners, serving you or taking care of you, and to be honest, let alone say hi to you or greet you. So in the States, it's like that. So that's why it's normal that there's a taqueria here and then there's one down the road, because it's family-owned businesses that are run by the families. And I know that's not how it works here, but it could. And you end up saving a lot of money as well. And you're the one who knows exactly what's going on in your business. So we do that a little bit differently than a lot of other startups in Dubai.
You're never better served than by yourself, as they say.
Yeah, and the best thing that we've been able to realize so far is the feedback. I can make that immediate change right away because I'm there and I can hear what the customer's saying versus, getting it from 3 people, then,
And the customer survey, and it comes back all broken up. And
exactly.
It's interesting because you mentioned there, Luma, about the quality and, genuine quality in Mexican style, not Tex-Mex, can be quite difficult to find.
Totally. So that's really interesting that you said that. And that's another way we differentiate ourselves. So I was just saying we make our own tortillas. So what we do is we ship in masa, which is flour, from Mexico, and we by hand every 4 hours make dozens and dozens of tortillas. This is the way we want to do it.
Yeah.
Does it require a bit more investment? Yeah. Do the numbers still make sense? Totally. But you just have to ask yourself how far you're willing to go. So you mentioned our guac. Our guac is really, really simple. The recipe is so easy. But when you invest in Mexican avocados versus what's out there in the market, your end product is going to be completely different. So about 45%, 50% of our ingredients are straight from Mexico. It means we do have a higher food cost, but it still makes complete sense. So yeah, you have to, for us, when my husband and I sat and we talked about ingredients and we worked with chefs and stuff, we said, we want food that we would actually eat. So that means fresh produce, fresh protein, homemade bread, homemade salsas, no canned, no jarred, no preservatives, and I think that's why we're able to retain.
Let me ask you this: are you a good cook?
Yeah, I think I am.
Okay.
I'm. It's my life. It's my passion. It's what
So
drives
you
me.
like cooking, right? Because I always wonder. I say, maybe one of these days I'd like to have a restaurant. I'm a social.
Really?
Yeah, I'm a social person. I'd love to host people. I love to host people.
Always
I'd love
eating
to,
out at restaurants, George.
you sound like my wife now. So it's always one day or another I'm going to open something up, whether it's a restaurant or another another type of hospitality business or whatever it is. My problem is I am not a great cook. I'm not a big cook. I never cooked. My wife is not a big cook. We're both very busy. We never really have time to spend on cooking and so on. Is somebody who's not a cook or a chef or good at cooking, is it somebody that can have a successful restaurant in your opinion, or a successful F&B concept?
I think it's kind of like with any other business model. If you find the right people that complement your skill set, you'll do a great job. But the thing is, with F&B, one thing that a lot of people approach my husband and I for consulting now, just to help them with their brands and kind of be homegrown and, a little bit like the direction that we went in. And the thing that I often see is that a lot of people want to jump on the bandwagon and they think that it's so appealing and so compelling and attractive to be in F&B. Listen, it's really, really hard. So you kind of, if you have an amazing idea, let's say you want to bring something over or whatever, and it's so cool, and you can find the right people to execute that for you, and you can have your startup doing that. But if it's your passion and it's something that you really have dreamt of doing once in your life, then you just have to ask yourself how much you're willing to put in. Are you willing to do 14-hour days? I mean, there's weekends where my husband and I slept like maybe on total like 5-6 hours, going from truck to catering to Sol DXB to the restaurant. It's just crazy. So you just have to ask yourself if that lifestyle is for you, because it really does take a lot.
Cool, thanks.
We're going to continue this conversation in a few minutes' time. Also, a question about the fact that you're by default almost gluten-free in many ways, and that's something we'll discuss in a few minutes' time, because there's a big trend whether people are doing it because they're celiac or whether they want to cut down on their gluten intake. Mexican food, when it's done properly, can be something that's quite compelling. Luma's staying with us. You're listening to Starting Up. We'll have more with her next.
More of Starting Up with Natalie Lindo in moments.